let's go ahead and start with these Georgia Bulldogs. I want to start with the number one team in the country, man, who didn't disappoint its fan base this weekend, nor did they disappoint Kirby Smart, their head coach, beating the 11th ranked Kentucky Wildcats 30-13. But my dog, how good is this UGA team?
Man, I'm going to put it simple and frank. They the real damn deal. They front seven is one of the top front sevens that I've seen in college football. And anytime you can hold the number 13 team, I think they was at the time, to 1.7 yards per rush, you're going to dominate a lot of people. But the interesting part for me that I enjoyed most seeing from Georgia was the fact that you kind of seen their quarterback getting a rhythm. He threw for 250 yards, had 3 TDs. That was good to see because he showed that they can win in other ways outside of their defense. I mean, hell, their defense has been dominant all year, and I think they will continue to be that. But the fact that he was able to put up those numbers shows what they're capable of big picture-wise. But I think they're the best team in the country. I don't think it's close. Give me your opinion on it.
Now, listen, I love this team, man. I love what they're made of. They have a 3-headed. I'm going to get to the defense in a second, but I love what they have offensively, right? They have a starting quarterback who they expected who was going to be the man this year coming into the season, JT Daniels. He's not back right now, but he's going to be back. But not only that, they have a solid backup in Stetson Bennett. So you have 2 solid guys that if your number 1 guy goes down, you have confidence that your backup, your number 2 guy, is going to get the job done. And we've seen it the last 3 or 4 games out of Stetson Bennett. Mm-hmm. Secondly, they are 3 deep in the backfield with Zamir White, James Cook, and Milton. They're 3 deep. And the like third
Nick
thing,
Chubb, Todd Gurley, and what was the other guy that they had?
Was it Moreno? It wasn't Noshawn, was it?
Nah, he was before them. What's the other guy? Damn. TG, Nick Chubb, and it's another one. I would have to look it up. Man,
I can't remember myself.
But
either.
They had 3 of them boys back then, and they doing the same damn thing now.
and they ready. And their offensive line, man, their offensive line is getting things done. Now I know under Todd Monken, they wanted Todd to come in and run a little spread thing with the landscape of what college football is getting to. But when your starting quarterback goes down, you got to go back to old school style. Okay, we just gonna punch you in the mouth. We're gonna be physical. We're gonna win the line of scrimmage, and that's what Georgia has done. But Cody, these young men have 3 freshmen. They have 3 freshmen that are playing great football for them right now. A receiver, McConkey. Listen, the man be routing people up. He route people up. A tight end, Brock Bowers, who's doing a great job, and another receiver, Mitchell. Those 3 guys coming along for this Georgia offense has allowed them to put up points. I said last week at halftime, the score was 14-7 versus Kentucky. And I was on the show, and I said, listen, Georgia has to get these tight ends involved. They have too many athletic tight ends, and they just got to get them the football. They came out, Brock Bowers ended up having over 100 yards receiving. Listen, the man can play the game. But now let's jump to that defensive side. You mentioned that front 7, and people talk about this defense being one of the best all time. Listen, when we say all time, it means something because you had those Miami teams that had Vilma, Ed Reed, Sean Taylor, Vince Wilfork, all those guys on it. You had that Alabama squad, I think.
Those USC teams.
2011 Alabama, if I'm not mistaken. And then you had them USC teams, and then you had a year where you had an LSU team that was making some noise because if they would have had a quarterback, Alabama wouldn't have won the national championship that year. That's the team. I think Tyrann Mathieu was on that one.
And even more recent, showing love to the ACC, you had Clemson.
Clemson, exactly. So so when we talk about all time, it's not many teams or many defenses that you could put in that category. But for this Georgia defense, they're in that category because you have big Jordan Davis, if you don't know his numbers, number 99. And then they have big Devontae Wyatt. Right. They had Nicole Dean. They have Walker. They have Smith. Listen, they have Adam Anderson. You know what? It's damn Baskin Robbins. All flavors. How you want it? Because they got that many guys on their defense. And for me, man, when I look at them playing against these teams, and I'm like, even if Georgia does struggle offensively, their defense is just so damn good that it's not gonna matter because their defense, they can count on their defense is gonna hold them afloat until the offense can actually get right. Now, we talking about this. I'm trying to think who can compete with Georgia in the college football landscape, if you're looking at all the teams right now, who is one team? And if there's two, tell me two. But I think I have two in mind that could potentially, I think, hang with Georgia. I said potential.
Mm-hmm.
They have potential. I didn't say they was. I said they have potential. And for me, it's Alabama, and they're going to get the opportunity to do that in the SEC championship game, and Ohio State, because Ohio State has two solid running backs. They have a nice quarterback. They have three receivers. They have two tight ends that are solid and a nice offensive line. So those are the two teams in my mind right now that I think that can, I'm not saying beat Georgia, but give them a run for their money because their offenses.
Right.
Who do you have in mind?
That's a simple question, but it's also a tough question because Georgia is that damn good. But I'm going to keep it a beam, bro. I think Alabama is the only team that got a chance.
I like it.
I think as we've seen first week of the season, I think we've seen Clemson have a chance. But I think that game was an anomaly because you continue to see Georgia rise and get better. And you've seen Clemson get better in stints, but not consistently better. And Clemson's dealt with a lot of injuries. So while Georgia is ascending, I think Clemson is, you know what I'm saying? It's not a lot of jump, but it's not a lot of down either. It's just kind of, they're a mediocre team.
Yeah.
You know, so I would say if anybody, Alabama, and the only reason why I say Alabama is because of who their coach is. And he is the mentor to Georgia's coach. That's the only thing I think Alabama has going for them. But at the end of the day, one thing you know about Alabama is they're always going to compete and they're going to be ready. And it's funny because them and Georgia is assembled damn near the same. They're like a carbon copy of each other. And that's the only reason why I think they have a chance. But man, the way Georgia's playing, bro, like I said earlier, that front seven, bro, being honest, being a defensive back guy, I don't know how good Georgia's secondary is. I don't. And that's not a knock on those young men, but they just don't get much action. Like we was just talking about Clemson. The year Clemson had Dexter Lawrence, Christian Wilkins, Cleveland Farrell, and Austin Bryant. They had a good secondary. They had Trayvon Mullen, AJ Terrell, all those guys who were doing their thing now in the NFL, but they didn't get much opportunity because those guys up front were always making tackles for loss and sacks. They didn't get much action. And I think Georgia's experiencing that now. I would love to be a corner for Georgia right now because if you don't give up the deep ball, you good. You good. Like you literally just have to play the deep ball. And being honest with you, you don't have to play it that much because the pass rush is going to get there. Pass rush and coverage goes hand in hand. And Georgia is as dominant as can be. And what I like about them, they don't give a damn who they playing. They play to their standard. It don't matter who they playing. They play to their standard, and their standard is dominating football. And it's a beautiful thing to see. You don't see them trying to trick people. You don't see them trying to do too much. Their coaches are putting their players in position to win, and their players are executing. And they got dogs all over the field. Period.
Here we are, mano y mano. We ain't trick fucking nobody. Listen, we want to see, are you the big bad wolf? We know we the big bad wolf. We want to see if you the big bad wolf too.
Right. It's no fair dodging. And I take it back to a statement that John Gotti said, the famous gangster. He said, everybody a gangster till some gangsters walk in the room. That's really what type of time Georgia's on. Everybody's a dog until we walk into the room. The closest game they've had is Clemson.
Yep. And they wasn't even developed as a team at that moment too.
Like they knew they was dogs, but they didn't know they was dogs, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that was kind of confirmation for them in my eyes because I was at that game and I seen it up close and personal. But ever since that game, they've just continued to get better. And it's like, damn, if they keep on this path, what are they going to be come into the season? You know what I'm saying? Because you can tell they're focused. You can tell they're locked in. You can tell they want it. You can tell they're all going after one mission. They don't care who get the shine because they understand when we win, it's enough for everybody. Because that means a lot of people is making plays.
And when people make plays, you win, you become a number one team in the country. That means every NFL scout, every NFL head coach, every NFL GM and owner is looking at your team. And if you are mediocre, they might be looking at you and thinking that you decent because you own the number one team in the country and y'all playing team ball and y'all efficient week in and week out.
And as a rotational player in a situation like that, all you have to do is make 1 or 2 plays when you get in, because they like, damn, he's showing flashes.
Yep.
He's behind this guy. So imagine what he's going to do when he gets the same role that this guy gets. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? It just looks good for everybody, man. And kudos to Kirby Smart, because damn it, he's doing it the right way.
He is.
Support for today's episodes of One-on-Ones comes from Manscaped, the world leader in men's below-the-waist grooming. Manscaped has just launched their 4th-generation trimmer, the Lawnmower 4.0. It's a sleek, well-designed, and precision-engineered trimmer, and I got to tell you, I was blown away by the performance. Listen, fellas, when I was in college, I had a bad experience trying to trim my hairs, and I used a razor and actually got cut. So don't be like me. Get you a Manscaped and get right. The way that Manscaped engineered the ultimate growing and body trimmer was simple. They focused on intelligent functionality and providing a comfortable grooming experience. The Lawnmower 4.0 was developed with their trademark skin-safe technology, which includes a cutting-edge ceramic blade that reduces snags and nicks. You need to be confident in any tool you use on your family jewels. The Lawnmower 4.0 has a 4000K LED spotlight, an attachment that allows you to change the length of your trim, and a wireless charger. Most importantly, you want to make sure you're not using the same trimmer on your nuts and your face. That's just nasty. So head on over to manscaped.com, where you will get 20% off and free shipping with the code ONE. That's ONE. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com if you use the code ONE. As a user of the Lawnmower 4.0, trust me when I say your balls will thank you.